hand on my heart, I really want to say that some of the best work is happening in Malayalam cinema. Just for somebody to say yes, there is going to be a lot of rejection. And rejection doesn't mean that it's all is lost. You have to continue pitching and you have to continue going. So I think that propelled a lot of my career. That attitude and that knowledge that 10 people are going to say no. I was born in a very, very toxic household. Lots of fights, lots of abuses. As an intern on international films, I actually developed a lot of amazing mentors. Major international producers became my mentors. So I could just learn the language of making a business plan for a film. I hope in my lifetime I'm able to do more for putting Indian cinema on the world map and do $2 billion in box office.
You don't come from these two categories of Bollywood that we usually see, big money or filmy family.
Yeah.
And but you not only cracked this space, you reached one of the top. You're one of the top people in this space. What was it like growing in the Guneet Monga family that kind of got you here?
Thank you. It's a very interesting question. I come from a very, very humble family, very humble, like lower middle income group. And I actually just wanted to, my parents, we were on rent in a 5,000 rupees house, and all my parents wanted was to buy a house. And that was my only dream. Start to finish, to just buy them a house. I started working very early, 16, 17. More like, even selling things on road, like putting up a stall, selling cheese, 400 rupees an hour I used to get. Be like an anchor on events. So I have done all the kinds of petty jobs, trying to make myself more useful. So one day I can find my parents a house that I can buy. And like moving that, I actually wanted to go outside India and study, but we didn't have the money.
You were a mass comm student, I guess.
Yes, actually my best friend forced me to fill up a form. I didn't even get great marks to get into DU or any decent college. So my best friend did, she didn't want me to go outside India because we would be parted. And we even didn't have the money. But I wanted to study international business and I wanted to study more business. That's what I really wanted to do.
So you had a liking to do business from the very start.
As a joke, we filled up the form and I went up. I didn't even know there was an entrance. And this story is so ridiculous, it gets even more ridiculous. I went in and there was a questionnaire with 4 answers. And one had to tick. This was the college entrance for mass communication. And my birth date is 21st, 2 plus 1, 3. 5 minutes I was out of the hall, ticking all the 3s. I know it's a very ridiculous story. And I got...
and you got through?
Scholarship.
Wow.
I got a scholarship and my friend did not get through in the first round. And then she came in a paid seat and I was on a free seat. Wow. I was amongst the top ranks. And I literally didn't even know the questions. I just knew the answer is 3. Like, just. It was fully like random. Some things maybe destiny chooses for you and you look back and you're like, what was I even doing? But I was glad I went to mass communication in Delhi. Both me and my best friend were in the same college. And from there, I think some sort of audio, video, film conversation started in life. And my best friend's mother was in international films as a production coordinator and I started as her intern. So I stumbled upon the work of being in a film office and working as an intern's intern, just being like the photocopy girl or something. And they were very kind to me and they were very nice. All the international films that I was part of. So being brought up in Delhi, there is a lot of international film work that comes to India for execution. For service producing, where the development of the IP and the script is all done in the home country, the money is raised and they come here for execution. They're shooting here. So you're literally in the service of...
line producing.
So you set up shop to line produce a film and these are French, German, Italian, Canadian, New Zealand, name it. Documentaries, photo shoots, feature films, fiction films, ads, so the whole spectrum. And because INB is in Delhi, and they're looking for a certain look, like in Rajasthan or in Punjab or in Agra. So they base themselves in Delhi, and that's the work that I then started doing
Okay.
for the next 4-5 years of my life. And I went up from an intern to a line producer.
Okay.
Very quickly became like the liaison person and the line producer. Over the 4-5 years, production manager, location manager, I started taking more and more responsibility. And I enjoyed handling large scale logistics.
How old were you at this point?
Late teens and
Okay.
18, 19. By 21, I was in Bombay.
Okay.
So I think from 17 to 2021, I did this.
Okay.
I started out as an intern, but there was so much volume of work that I was on different films and different kind of projects.
Did it help from switching to Delhi to Bombay?
It's really like all my friends went to study higher
Okay.
film. They went to FTI, SRFTI.
Okay.
I just worked,
Okay.
and I didn't want to. I had to buy a house, so I didn't have. I didn't want to put more years in studying at that point of time. And I did always think that I'll go outside India one day and get like higher studies. But right now, I wanted to work.
Okay.
So I just not immediately wanted to go to post graduation, but all my friends went for that,
Okay.
and they were all moving to Bombay.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, we'll just get a house and
Okay.
move to Bombay and explore.
Okay.
So I moved in the love of my friends.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I'll find some work here and make some movies. So
Okay.
I think it's always been heart first.
Hmm. Okay.
There is, you can look back and think it was a strategy. You can look
Yeah.
back and think that, when it's so, one has planned everything meticulously. No, I had no idea.
This is in hindsight that you
This is all in
realized.
hindsight. You can break down life.
There is something very interesting about this aspect. After you moved to Delhi, after you worked in a couple of films, you set up your own company. The
Moved
thing
to
with
Bombay,
line
yes.
producers is, they get stuck at line
Yes.
producing. They get stuck at line producing one movie after another. But you decided to choose a break from it, and
Become a producer.
you set up a company. And it's very interesting in India. If you set up a business, most businesses get bank loans. Yours is one that banks won't touch.
Yeah.
There's no due diligence that they can do because there's no product that exists. You have to execute the product.
Yeah.
And the kind of movies that you chose to produce, it's like, if I put a consultant for it to do a market research, they would say, don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Because it goes against the song dance culture in Bollywood. So it's like, you built a company and somehow you're making more money than other companies. You're getting into the Oscars. You got 2 Oscars, not 1.
Yeah.
So how do you go about, this setting up a company and making it into a successful one, as successful as Sikya?
I think a lot of passion. And I think, it comes down to the experiences that I've had in my life. I was born in a very, we were living in a big joint family, and I was born in a very, very toxic household.
Okay.
Lots of fights, lots of abuses, they're all fighting over property because I was born in a very big house in Delhi in GK2. And my parents and me, 3 of us, to find some peace, and on a very tough night, fled the house and were in outskirts of Delhi when I was 12.
Okay.
So the first 12 years were very toxic. Like as a child, I experienced migraines and just was scared. I'm still scared of loud voices.
Okay.
So that's just something that I can't handle.
Okay.
Because I've just had so much trauma of just people screaming
Okay.
for no reason to, assess power or show somebody down. So I think, and why I'm telling you this is because I think my experiences in my life allowed me somewhat to be able to look through humans
Okay.
and maybe assess them more deeply.
Okay.
If one wants to work with them, or maybe even have very transparent conversations,
Okay.
or maybe first put your fears out there that this is how we work.
Okay.
We can work like this. Set all your expectations right.
Okay.
There was so much of so one has always kind of tried to get into a film with and have conversations with the person helming the film, which is the director.
Okay.
Writer director early on. So I was very lucky that my first film Say Salam India, when I went to Bombay with 50 lakhs from my neighbor when I was 21 years old, I was with Subhash Kapoor, an incredible director and an incredible human being. So it allowed me to be vulnerable.
Okay.
So when you can be honest, you can be vulnerable.
Okay.
You know, as a 21-year-old producer on a set, you know, you're like, this is what I know, this is what I can do.
Okay.
I was very, very good with line production. I could
Okay.
handle large-scale logistics productions. That was my background.
Okay.
And I did it very systematically in international manner, which the kind of that discipline was not even there in Bombay.
Okay.
So I had that edge that, you know, I knew a lot about paperwork. I knew a lot about logistic management.
Okay.
And I could speak that language. But I needed to learn on how to read a script and how to give feedback to an extremely creative person
Okay.
on their script and be valuable. So then that was my journey in Bombay, you know, to learn how to read and give feedback on a script.
Would it be correct to say that your early years shaped this kind of a work ethic for you,
Yes,
which kind of
it did.
put you ahead of others in your competitive
Absolutely.
space, like this hustling thing that you can do, putting a lot of hours for the work? Is it true that you actually pledged gold to raise funding for a film, or
My
you sold?
house, because I lost both my parents. They were
Okay.
never. I built the house for them by the
Okay.
age 22. I did
Okay.
so many ads and international films. I made enough money to buy a house in GK1 for them.
Okay.
And
You actually
yeah, at
paid
22.
a house in
Yeah.
JK1 at the
Yes.
age of what, 22?
22.
So you peaked much before the Oscars.
Yeah, that was my biggest victory in life.
Yeah.
In my own life, that is my biggest victory.
Okay.
To be able to buy a house for a couple of crores at the age of 22.
Okay.
And I took bank loan for that and everything, you know, like we had plans. We didn't really have to take bank loan, but we had very little money that we needed to take a bank loan on delivery of the house. The house was
Okay.
getting constructed. And by the time it got constructed, they both passed. They were
Okay.
both unwell and they both passed. And so by 23, they both passed. And I got very disillusioned about property and house because, you know, you live with only one mission in life. And then when that goes, like the earth under you shakes, you're just like, what is the meaning of life?
Yeah.
And that was also the reason to just lock, stock, barrel move to a new place and not be in Delhi. There was nothing
Okay.
to look forward for in Delhi. And all my friends were in Bombay
Okay.
and they were all coming out of post graduation. So it just moved. So there was a lot of emotional and logical reason to just start afresh wherever it is.
But at the end of the day, when you build a company like Sikya, you need money for this thing. No, you have to have money, and like I said, you know, banks won't touch it. So, how do you raise funds for your? How do you raise funds for
So
your early movies?
I raised money because I made projects, I made business plans.
Yeah.
And you know, as an intern on international films, I actually developed a lot of amazing mentors.
Okay.
Major international producers became my mentors.
Okay.
So I could just learn the language of making a business plan for a film, and then just go start meeting people.
Okay.
And there is one principle that I lived by. Actually, there's a very beautiful story that I'll tell you.
Okay.
When I turned 18, my dad's grand plan for me was to become an insurance agent.
Wow.
So
This is like a Coen Brothers movie now.
So his grand plan was like, beta, I'll go sell insurance to my friends. You will get the commission. I can't go get license and study and give that exam. You study,
Okay.
give the exam, and you know, life will be set. Because
Yeah.
he was also a hustler. And he said, you know, I'll make sure that I sell so much insurance that you will keep getting revenue year on year. You know, you have to sell it once and then for 2 decades, you keep getting some revenue, right? So
From that sustainable model, you went
Yeah.
to this.
unsustainable model. So I went to study insurance the minute I turned 18, and my
Okay.
first ever job was Tata AIG insurance agent. And I passed the exam. But why I'm telling you this story is because what I learned there in insurance was that, you know, you all come from a social economic sector, you know, like from
Yeah.
so your friends and circle is also middle class, you know. That's friends of your parents, and you know, so you will go and that will be your first point of contact, like, you know, for uncles and aunts to buy insurance from you, and then maybe they recommend to more people, and people live, you know, with their budget, and then there is another hole that has to be created year on year to sell them a dream that, you know, someday this will come handy. So it's a big sale to ask middle class person to buy a insurance, and it was not at that point of time 2003 It was
Okay.
not. It was not really that penetrated, or there was a lot of
Okay.
scope. So what they taught us was that just know that you're going to see a lot of rejection.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that you can't sell. So 10 people are going to say no to you for one person to say yes,
Okay.
and you have to keep going. And that kind of became the mantra of my life.
You applied the same kind
Everywhere.
of logic.
Across my love life,
Okay.
across making movies,
Okay.
because for somebody to say yes, there is going to be a lot of rejection. And rejection doesn't mean that it's all is lost. You have to continue pitching, and you have to
Okay.
continue going. So I think that propelled a lot of my career. That attitude and that knowledge that 10 people are going to say no. So in my brain, I started celebrating the rejection. And I do
Okay.
it till date. I'm just like, oh, so great, this is a no. Great that this is an early no.
Okay.
I'll keep going. I'll
Okay.
keep trying. Sometimes one does hit the wall, but largely that attitude allows me to keep moving forward.
So now you have raised some money somehow, pledging all you have or selling all you have, and from your friends and all that, and you decide to set up this company and you start to work on the content. Now you have two choices, right? You can either go the mainstream mass masala ways that Bollywood makes movies, or you can do something which is more abstract, more logical, and gets an audience in the long run, which has more shelf life basically, and
The independent cinema.
independent cinema. So, what made you kind of bet on this rather than going the mainstream way?
So by the time I turned 24, I sold my parents' house,
Okay,
the one that I had bought, and that kind of became my startup
your
capital,
seed fund.
my own startup capital.
Okay,
And I was doing a job at
Okay.
Balaji. I'd produced 2 films, Say Salam India and Das Vidania.
okay,
And post that, I didn't really want to produce because it was just it's emotionally very taxing to
okay,
put together this whole 200 people, put together a village, and take the load of. So I'd produced 2 films. My first film, my neighbor gave me the money. They gave me 50 lakhs.
okay,
Because my neighbor wanted to make a studio for shooting cute kids and sell those video to the parents. His name is Mr. Kamlesh Agarwal.
okay,
And he said that you studied mass communication, you know how to operate camera and
Yeah.
lights, let's make the studio. So I said, it's a terrible idea, you should give me this money, I'll go to Bombay and make a film. And he did.
okay,
He agreed. That was my first 50 lakhs.
okay,
I went to food courts in Bombay, and I used to tell people, I have 50 lakhs, do you have a story?
okay,
So I didn't know anybody in Bombay.
okay.
All I knew was light vendors and
Okay.
camera vendors.
Great, no?
Because I used to hire lights that were not available, and special equipment, cameras and equipment that was not available in Delhi.
Okay,
So I used to hire that for international films, and those are the vendors that I knew.
okay,
So I used to ask them, do you know an AD? Do
okay.
you know somebody who knows a director? Who would possibly know a writer? So I started building a network, 6 months, 1 year, 6 months around. And then I've met many people who just thought that there's this young girl roaming around with 50 lakhs.
Okay,
We'll take her money. But, I just really kept asking questions, kept trying where one feels safe to
okay,
be able to do that. And that's where I met Mr. Subhash Kapoor, and we made our first film together. He had access to around 75 lakhs. I raised another 25.
okay,
And we made a film in 1.5 crores, which was Say Salam India.
okay,
We ended up self-distributing it, making all the money back.
okay,
And in the process, I even learned distribution.
okay,
It was a children cricket film,
okay,
like the rich school, poor school classic. In the last ball, the underdogs winning. And it released in 2007. And
Happened around the time of
the World
World
Cup,
Cup.
and when India lost, came out of the elementary round.
which was bad news for you.
Very bad news. And our film was released, and all the cinema guys were like, do anything but take this film out.
Okay.
Because our cinemas will get burnt if we talk about cricket right now. Put older films, put Namaste London, put Bheja Fry, put older films right now, but not this. And that's what led me to go to my school, and all the money was lost. And I had taken up a job to line produce Gajni.
Okay,
And then I left that job, and because I needed to figure out and raise that money, 50 lakhs back, 75 lakhs. And my investor was just like, it's not your fault, and I know it.
Okay.
Because there is a
the
scenario,
larger forces of the
the larger
world.
forces. And I actually told him that if I'm unable to return you this money, then I will never be able to become a producer.
Okay.
It's my job. It's my, one needs to be authentic and responsible for someone's money, and it's a lot of money for me. So I went to my school and I asked my principal that we used to see movies in 50 rupees per child, and would you like collect that? And mine is a children cricket film. And she agreed. It was Bluebell School. Then there is Sapna Cinema behind my house in Kailash Colony, 1,000-seater, single screen.
Okay.
And I went there and I said, how much do you sell your morning show for? 9 to 12
Okay.
a.m., 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And they said, we make 6,000, 7,000. I said, I'll give you 10,000.
Okay.
I booked the theater, 50 rupees per kid, 50,000 rupees show, 40,000 was mine.
Very retail distribution.
Yeah, and kids loved it.
Okay.
And they were jumping on seats, and the last ball and the music landed. Went back to my principal, got a letter of appreciation, and then straight went to DPS RK-Puram, which are 25,000 kids.
Okay.
And in school, I used to do a lot of extempo, lots of theatre, lots of drama. So it allowed me to go to various schools, be in competition. I was a prefect. I was always the one happy to take the mic and talk.
Okay.
You know, like had a little bit of leadership quality, I think, from childhood.
Okay.
That was groomed a lot in my school. So I was not shy about, you know, just asking and talking and putting my thought out there. So I just asked and they said yes. The big school said yes, and all other DPS got activated. And then sold the interval to 2 brands
Okay.
for 15,000. And then I stood there and sold audio CDs that I bought from my vendor for 10 rupees at his cost and sold for 25 rupees each. And we did 350 shows like this.
Wow.
And made all the money back. Took 9 months of my life.
So, especially after something like this,
And
how do you not go to the masala movies?
So then disillusionment also happened because you know, huge personal tragedy when you sit and I'm the only child of my parents.
Yeah.
And you know, you just see everybody else having a set of parents, and you know, just and they both left in 6 months, and they give me very little time to figure this out. So I actually went back to Bombay and picked up a job. And I was line producing Once Upon a Time in Mumbai for Balaji, for Ekta and Shobha ma'am. And then I was on that film for like a 9 months, 10 months period with like Ajay Devgan, Imran Hashmi, Kangana, Prachi Desai, big actors, being on a big Bollywood set and executing that. And I could execute that big film because of my past experience and my resume was very strong with international films. So I did get that job, and that's where I met Anurag Kashyap. And he had just done Devdi, and he was in and out of Balaji. And he had seen Dastadanya and Salam India and knew about me in the independent scene as an independent producer. And he asked me, you know, would you come work with me? And I said, sure. Okay. And by that time, I'd sold my house. And then that was the money I had. And we first went and made That Girl in Yellow Boots.
So then this...
And I then was, you know, running Anurag's company for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to make all the independent films. And largely initially, it was all, of course, Anurag greenlighting films. And I was running into the execution and raising the money and figuring it out, and then sales. It pushed me to understand international distribution.
Okay.
Because Anurag used to say that our films work internationally, and that's what led me to go to Venice with That Girl in Yellow Boots, then have conversations on how sales happen there. So my worldview became a lot shaped by Anurag Kashyap films.
Okay.
And those were the films I was part of. So Ayya, Gangs of Wasseypur, Shaitan, Shahid, Tashir Desh, Monsoon Shootout. Then the house money went into Monsoon Shootout, Lunchbox. So all these films happened in those 6-7 years. And
but are you surprised that your instincts has kind of worked very well for you so far? Because, you know, a movie like Lunchbox, it's difficult to pitch that kind of a movie.
Absolutely.
The story itself is difficult to pitch. So I'm curious what you see in those pitches. When the story comes to you, like movies like Masan, Lunchbox, Period End of Sentence, or when Karthi Gonzalez comes to you with a video of 2 elephants and, you know, their caretakers. What you see in them that you see that could eventually get into an Oscar platform?
You don't make movies for awards. You just make movie with intention.
Yeah.
You know, it has to touch the soul. And you say yes to something. Like if you read a book, why do you like a book more than another? You know, I think it comes down to taste and exposure.
Okay.
I've just had an international exposure. I've traveled with my films. We've had 9 films officially selected in Cannes, more than 14 in Toronto. So one has just seen and experienced and heard, and I am a business person.
Okay.
So I sit between ideal creatives
Okay.
and equity money. Where the ideal creative is just like, this is my vision and I just needed the purest version of the vision.
Okay.
And the equity money is like, when do I get this money back and how much?
Okay.
So in between that is my job. Constantly marrying that
Okay.
and and managing expectations of both ends.
Okay.
And that is producing and then making sure how far can this piece of content go.
Okay.
Where in the world can we take this and how do you build that narrative for it to break out? So be it Lunchbox or be it more recently Kill.
But do you have a checklist of things that you look for when you get stories like that? Is it like depend on project to project?
It is the story and the director. It is
Okay.
conversations with the director.
Okay.
It is a vision on how we want to build it. And then that vision we build together with a lot of conversation.
Okay.
And then superpower of hiring the right crew,
Okay.
getting mentors on a project who would be the right one to be able to lead us to a better version of the film, be it at script level, be it at edit level. So constantly enabling the project with the best kind of talent around it who could even expand our knowledge. So I think that kind of humility is needed.
Okay. So it's both the man and the idea. It's not
Absolutely.
you with your experience that shaped you and you understand the value of this content and this maker comes to you with the story, you decide to take it on. But then there is the other part of it, which is the selling of this. You're in front of distributors where there's a sea of pitches. And especially in a place like Cannes or Sundance, you have to read the room.
Yes.
And those guys are not coming with your experience. You have to convince them that this is something that is far more valuable than you see. So how do you do that? How do you read the room in these kind of...
It's a great question. So over the years, I've learned to read that room and teach myself. And it is so, it's such a lived experience.
Okay.
That I know that I'm an anomaly and I know that I don't have a peer group to discuss this with on how to take something international. It's just 2 decades of traveling and putting films out there, making mistakes, finding sales agents, finding buyers, and then building a relationship with them year on year on year. It culminated with Lunchbox and then it culminated with Kill. Because we were able to license Kill to Lionsgate in US and for an exceptional value. And we were able to sell the whole world on Kill, a film with 2 brand new actors, extreme action, extreme genre, not
extreme
really,
violence.
Extreme violence. It's a genre film.
Very uncommon.
Very uncommon and very uncommon to my cinema library or everything that one has done. I've done a lot of dramas, but people didn't expect a Kill from me. But as a filmmaker, I'm fascinated by the craft. I want to do sci-fi. I want to do action adventure. We should be doing our Jurassic Park. I want to do a whole spectrum, from a horror to everything. But try and make it as the best possible version from India for that story, and that is a journey and a process that one goes through. And over the years, I have built relationships with and working relationships with people because I've gone and knocked every door and pitched myself. That's just my truth.
I wonder if there is an element of luck also in this.
No, a lot of hard work worked.
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there. Like I've produced more than 40 films. Not everything has traveled.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had more than 9 films at Cannes and 14, 15 films in Toronto, and not everything has crushed the.
People only hear about the successes.
We hear about the success, we celebrate the success, but the same amount of work goes in everything.
Every film, okay.
The same amount of work went in Monsoon Shootout, the same amount of work went in Gangs of Wasseypur, the same amount of work went in Lunchbox, or a Tashar Desh, or a Shahid, or a Paglet, or a Kathal. In fact, something very interesting that Gangs of Wasseypur, I was able to license as a 6-part mini-series to US in 2012 to Netflix.
Okay.
And it was Netflix's first Hindi language mini-series.
Okay.
Because it was 5.5-hour film that we broke up into 8 40-minute episodes.
Okay.
And was able to, because when I was in Cannes, I was just like getting that intel that mini-series is something that one can sell.
Okay.
And then I went back and I was like, can we do this? And there was a lot of freedom at Anurag Kashyap Films, and one was able to do that and do that deal and experiment with so much. That's what led to, Netflix coming to India and doing the first deal for Sacred Games
Okay.
with Anurag. But it was 2012 when that Netflix deal had happened.
This is actually great. You touched upon this that I want to ask you next. This is this thing about reading the room and accurately reading the room. It's very interesting. No, it's a skill that you get by going
Yes.
to these kind of platforms and living there for some time, like living through that experience for
Yes.
some time. And so, right now, what do you think is kind of being looked up by the international audience, and what is the thing that makes them tick? I know it's a very fluctuating thing. It might change tomorrow. What was yesterday true may not be true today.
Hand on my heart, I really want to say that some of the best work is happening in Malayalam cinema,
Okay.
and it deserves to travel more.
We Malayalis are very this thing. We are very we criticize our movies too much.
I mean, I am the biggest fan of Kumbagali Nights.
Okay.
I am addicted to that music. I love the film.
Okay.
Be it Manjummel Boys, be it Avesham, be it Court Life, be it, there's so much good work that
Okay.
has happened there. And as much as I have seen, I was part of Jallikattu.
Okay.
And I did get it distribution in US by XYZ Films. So I'm very proud to be able to do that for a film that I did not produce, but I was able to propel it
So
for its
again, it would be
campaign.
great to know like what you see as working in these. What ticks you?
Originality. And I
Okay.
think Malayalam cinema is the most original.
Like it's very rooted.
It's so local that
Yeah.
because of that, it is global. The emotions, as anybody, you feel the emotions,
Okay.
And like if you look at an example of Kumbagali Nights, I mean, the visual landscape of that is so beautiful. I feel like it's right. It's so right to travel. Like that's the India we want to show,
Okay.
and that's the brown skin and our local language, because we are a whole spectrum, from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu to
Yeah.
Rajasthan to Northeast. We are a whole spectrum,
Yeah.
And if the West is celebrating an RRR, it's celebrating a Lunchbox, it's celebrating a Gangs of Wasseypur, it's celebrating a Kill.
Yeah.
There is a whole spectrum. There is not just this one thing.
So authenticity is the baseline.
Authenticity and a well-made
Well-made is very crucial.
movie, well-made, beautiful, original movie that has its own syntax and its own language in place.
Yeah.
RRR is very different from a Lunchbox,
Okay.
but there is a universe for both of them.
Okay.
And that's why I just feel like the originality that there
Okay.
is, especially in Malayalam cinema, is just the most magnificent.
Okay.
There is extremely fearlessness. Like, I don't think there can be a film like Manjummel Boys in Hindi.
Why?
And because having 20 actors and making a film, so that syntax or that language is not there in Hindi.
Okay.
We and the way, I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about the thrill of it.
Okay.
It's so thrilling. It's so on the edge. It deserves to travel. It deserves the world to see it. It's a classic genre film that one should travel. If 27 Hours, Danny Boyle's film, if
Yeah.
I'm getting the name right,
Yeah.
it gives you that kind of thrill of that person being stuck in the hole.
It's-
So I feel, I just feel like I wish I knew about these films before they released. I
Okay.
discover them after the release. I wish there can be more conversation. It's my heart's desire, and
It's-
especially saying it on your channel here. I've said it many, many times, and maybe it's not traveled, but I just hope the people here can see that, and one can just experience that early on, because there can be a very, very different and a beautiful strategy for that film to travel.
This is exactly why I am surprised that the Malayalam movies that you say, Manjummel Boys or Kumbalangi Nights, I'm surprised that they're getting
Favorite
made in Kerala, because if you go to a legacy producer in Kerala, they won't make these movies.
Yeah.
I don't see the business side of it aligning with. The only way these movies got made, I think, is because the actors or some of the
Yeah.
creative persons were the ones backing it. But I wonder,
And I feel like we're in the same country and yet so disconnected. Like, I want to know. I want to know them. I want to be able to meet them. And I want to be able to just, talk that there is a world out there. It doesn't open up for everything, but one has to keep trying.
and the other side of it is, in Hindi, you have to create this ecosystem of people who understands and who appreciates a film like Lunchbox. In
After,
states like Tamil and Kerala, you
you know,
already have that audience.
no, absolutely. I actually want to say that Lunchbox didn't happen easy. Lunchbox was the first journey to be on. And that's where I'd gone to Cannes and got a scholarship to be a part of Producers Program, Producers Network Breakfast Program. That's where I learned that the whole of Europe, the whole of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Korea, they work with subsidy money. They work with taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
We are a hardcore equity. You know,
Yeah.
it can be a rich person or a studio, but it's hardcore equity.
You're like a
With
VC.
one check, you know, that you're funding the film, or 5 checks. I mean, whatever.
Okay.
It's hardcore equity. Money needs to go back with interest.
Okay.
But the whole world outside of India, minus US, rest of the world is works with government money, and the taxpayers' money goes into cinema because cinema is seen as art and culture.
Okay.
So when you see the whole Europe, you see Australia, New Zealand, like I mentioned, Canada, and that's where I learned that's how films are made in Europe, and how does one work that with India? Actually, that's where I learned that India and France has signed up a treaty
Okay.
that was signed in 1985 for co-production, and I was the first one to use it in 2011 for Lunchbox.
Okay. But the
And
institutional.
that allowed me to raise 55% of the budget as non-recoupable soft money from France.
Okay.
So when I was making a Lunchbox, a film with no songs, with a brand new actor, Nimrat, and it was a lot in English. I mean, of course, Irfan sir is a legend, but when you take that film out with no songs and in the Hindi context, it's impossible to raise the money. And when I went with the same film and said, I only need 45% of the equity of the budget, it's like, let's do it. You know, so the budget of the film was 10 crores. We raised around 5.5 from France and Germany. And that was non-recoupable. So when you go to India, when you go to the same financiers and private equity players, you're like, I just need 4.5 crores for my film. Like, let's do it.
And all the institutional support that you just touched upon, is it a joke in India? It's like there are more barriers for you to make a film from the government side than support coming
We
in,
are
right?
definitely heavily taxed. I mean, we are
And censoring.
and we are taxed as tobacco industry. You know, we are definitely heavily taxed. But I do think that NFDC is now gearing up to do more. Like in the 80s, they funded Gandhi, and they funded all these, you know, so many Ketan Mehta and Sudhir Mishra films and so many movies. There was a independent movement, and I feel like, I hope that there is more of that happens. You know, so from the government side, maybe there is, you know, like a more France way of working, that some independent films can access that money to be able to do the art, you know.
No, this is unlike any other industry. There is an ecosystem that needs to kind of, you know, happen for these movies to exist and celebrate it, right? There needs to be a visual culture, visual literacy and all that. This doesn't happen to all other industries. You can create a product which is liked by the consumers. There is a need for a consumer and he'll use it. But this, you're saying that you need to watch the film. Even the guy may not know that you have to he has to watch this film, but you have to do a film, and then the guy watches it and he realizes that, oh, I missed this thing in life, right? So how do you go about creating this ecosystem? I think in the South, they have an advantage because there's a film literacy movement, film society movements, and there was a visual culture. We had international film festivals for the last 30 odd years. So how do you create this thing for the Hindi belt?
So, you know, I can't change the world.
Okay.
I can only do what I understand and continue doing that, and be able to produce it intelligently and market it even intelligently. So I think having a big executive producer, having a big, like Lunchbox was distributed in India by Karan Johar.
Okay.
And we sold the whole world at Cannes minus India. Nobody in India wanted to touch it after the film was even made.
Okay.
And that's when I went to Karan and I said, you know, this is and I didn't know him from anywhere. And he was in Cannes with his short film, because it was 100 years of Indian cinema, and there was a film called Bombay Talkies, and Anurag had directed one of them, and it was Karan, Zoya and Dibakar. And I just walked up to him and I said, you are the master of love stories. I've made a love story. And it is sold the whole world minus India. It's the first time something like this is happening for an Indian film. Okay. And I said, would you just watch it? And he said, sure. And I said, he's asked me, what do you need me to do? And I said, release it. And I don't want a small release. Small release, Anurag and I can do myself. You know, we've done so much. We want a big release. We want it to be celebrated. I want 500 plus screens. and he then put up a huge P&A, $1 million of P&A behind Lunchbox from UTV and released it. And it became, of course, the money came back. It became a conversation, and it became a film that was celebrated. But it was also very effective marketing.
But it's a very rare thing to happen. Usually, the Karan Johar or the PVRs of the world not release these kind of movies, independent cinema. They give
But then
preference
we have to try harder.
Okay.
I mean, I was able to do that because we sold the whole world.
Okay.
And I think my entire career has been outside, inside. So it's been celebrated outside, and then inside people here are like, oh, maybe this is cool. So when you're talking about this for the first time, when you're talking about a kill, when you're talking about, but with Dharma, I feel like one has built a relationship now since Kill, since Lunchbox, since 2013. They understand that I try and do unique things, and they're like, okay, let's do unique things with her, and we are able to, and that's how they funded Kill, which was expensive journey to be on, and we are very happy to be on the other side of the success of it.
So yours is a project-based model.
Yes.
You do, your business is basically creating a project, executing it, get revenue out of it.
Yeah.
And then you do like possibly 10, 15 projects at the same time. You create a schedule for it, you go ahead. How do you scale this business? How do you scale something like Sikya Entertainment?
So you scale it by, of course, at one point of time, to be able to have enough team to be able to develop more.
Okay.
Development is at the center of it.
Okay.
And to be able to have a system to be able to produce and execute more. There is definitely a bottleneck with actors, because there are very few actors that actually then get a green light. So it's about having enough development slate and having films that are going in execution, and that doesn't overwhelm the system. I want to build a company of producers, people more like me.
Okay.
If I don't get overwhelmed doing 2 or 3 films in a year, I want to be able to build 5 more people like me in the same company.
And
being able to creatively champion it and do the whole work, because our work doesn't start or finish by just raising the money. It's one aspect of it.
Okay.
From the day go, you're building the vision on where this film can go, and that has been our superpower.
One thing I want to ask you is this Women in Film initiative that you have announced. What would you be focusing on this Women in Film?
So Women in Film is not a production house. It's not here to make films. In fact, it's here for more policy conversations and upskilling.
Okay.
The stats are against us. I'm deeply passionate about it. I only learned about it when stats started coming out, that because we live in our echo chambers, right?
Okay.
We live in a world where there are more women in my team than men. I think from my worldview, it's amazing.
I'm curious, what are the stats saying?
The stats actually came out, the Ovumanya report that Film Companion and Amazon did, were less than 3% women are directors. And then you can count them on your fingers, the top 10 directors. And I was like, that's true, we need to change that. And how does one systematically change that? How does one change that as an industry? Or even like shine light on it as an industry? This is beyond one production house. This is beyond one person. This is beyond me. And I hope Women in Film as an organization and as an institute becomes institutionalized and outlives me, and just is a upskilling and a support system for more women creators. When we are less than 10% across the whole spectrum, writing, directing, cinematography, and when I started talking to more women in the business, they were like, yeah, we don't, the cinematographers are like, it's so sad that people come to women cinematographers when they don't have money.
One final question about, I want to sum up what we have discussed. It's like you have gone from this girl who was Mascom graduate who was selling cheese to kind of, and doing DJ sometimes. I've heard stories.
Yeah.
And then,
because I used to make 50,000 rupees a night because there was no women.
That's
DJ.
great.
I was like, done. I need to go buy a house.
No, my parents would have told you to stick to that. And then you've become this, you are actually one of the top producers in India right now, and you are a woman. You are one of the forces that will shape the coming, the near future. How do you want to kind of use this power?
By, by opening more doors for many more who come behind me.
Okay.
So I feel like when one woman walks through the door, it opens the door for 10 more. And to be known for my work, taking our films global,
Okay.
I'm fascinated by the global box office because it's definitely large. When films out there make $2 billion and $3 billion and we get happy on 20 million. So I feel like there is a journey that needs to be done, and we have incredible talent,
Okay.
incredible directors. I think once they're ready to have conversations with people who are only producers,
Okay.
because every director, every actor is a producer.
Yeah.
And the system works.
Yeah.
So there is no right or wrong. The system
Yeah.
works. They find the money, they make the film. But there is a whole uncharted territory and a world of box office waiting to step into for us. Something that China has done with a hero, something that Korea has done with so many films, something that Iran has done, that Indonesia has done, and we are waiting.
Yeah.
So I just feel like we need more producers, we need more amazing. We have actually incredible talent. We
But
have
is there
incredible
like
actors and directors.
is there like a
writers.
specific goal? Like at one point in your life, you want to build this house. At another point, I
Now
don't
I just
know.
want global box office, $2 billion.
$2 billion.
I want a Brown Panther,
Yeah.
a Black Panther.
So you have a number.
Yes, $2 billion box office for Indian film, made in India. I definitely wanted to win an Oscar for an Indian film. I'm very, very proud that I was able to do that. I still want to go back and finish my speech and win for a feature film.
I've always wondered this thing. What would you have said in those 30 seconds if that was given to you?
I would have said that, I would have definitely thanked Baman and Belly and the indigenous community that we were able to put on the world map. And I would have said that, and I was able to say that at the backstage, that here are two women from India who have won the first ever Oscar for and fully produced Indian film. And don't wait for somebody to, for somebody to invite you to sit on the table. Create your own table and sit on it. I did say that in the press conference behind the stage. So I would have said that, and I would have thanked my team at Sikya Entertainment and my wonderful husband, who I forgot to thank, even at the backstage.
I hope you'll get more chances to kind of say this in the next Oscar.
I feel like Crazy Rich Indians is waiting to happen. I feel like so much is waiting to happen. A creature feature, a genre film, they're all waiting to happen from India to the world. Like our mythology, like Kantara did so well. There is a global audience for that.
Yeah.
There's so much that the world is waiting for. Yeah. So and we're doing it. I just feel like I hope in my lifetime I'm able to do more for putting Indian cinema on the world map and do $2 billion in box office.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.